It looks like Dr. Thompson is online as an attendee, so she'll need to be moved up,
Thank you for the call out.
of course.
President Thompson, if you're available for a mic check, will you please unmute?
Hi,
Hi,
does everyone
welcome.
hear me?
And I see you. You're all set.
Great, thank you. Is everyone else here? Should we do a roll call?
I just got a text from Andy Yam. He's on his way, should be here momentarily. I'm in the conference room where he'll be joining me.
Okay.
And from the moderators list, we might also be looking for Tice.
Okay, great. Well, we will just wait. I'm going to mute myself while that's happening.
Welcome, DP Miller. If you're available for a mic check, will you please unmute?
Hello.
Hello, welcome. I hear you loud and clear.
Thank you.
I just got word from Dr. Tice that she will be about 5 minutes late. So once Andy jumps on, we have quorum. So if we wanted to get started, we could. If you want to wait 5 minutes, um, that's your guys' call.
I think we should start once we have quorum, just because that way we can just get moving and Dr. Tice doesn't need to stress about it.
Welcome, Member Tice. If you're available for a mic check, will you please unmute? All right.
Good morning.
Good morning. And can we check your video too, please? All right, I see you. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. I think we have quorum, so we can get started. Do we have quorum, Rebecca?
We should. I can take roll call and just verify that really quick.
Okay, I think I need to call to order first and then we take roll call. Is that right? Okay. So it is October 8th, 2025 at 9:10 a.m. and I am calling to order the meeting of the California Board of Naturopathic Medicine.
Great, thank you. And I'll take roll call. Dr. Dara Thompson.
Present.
Dr. Mina Yoon will be out today, absent with cause. Dr. Vera Singleton.
Present.
Thank you. Dr. Satara Tice.
Present.
Great. Dr. Deparshi Mukherjee.
Present.
Mr. Andy Yam.
Andy just arrived in the conference room, so he's in the process of logging in.
Perfect, great. And Dr. Bruce Davidson, you are with us as well.
Present.
We will welcome Andy as soon as he jumps on, but we do have quorum.
Wonderful. All right. I'm so sorry. I just realized I do not have my agenda open. Give me 1 second here.
Of course.
All right. So the next item on the agenda here is, public comment on items not on the agenda. Let's go around and see if there are any members of public present in our remote locations. Moderator, can you just ask for the different locations and see if there are any members of the public present?
I believe our physical location is the DCA El Dorado room. Do we have other physical locations?
Yes, we're all in physical locations that are open to the public currently. So, for example, I am in San Rafael. Dr. Tice is in, I'm so sorry, Fresno, Satira, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Right.
And then, yeah, Dr. Davidson and Andy Yam are in the same location in Southern California. Anyways, just got to go through each of the locations and see if there are members of the public present in any of them.
All right, President Thompson, are there public members at your location in San Rafael?
There are no public members in San Rafael.
Dr. Tice, are there any public members in Fresno with you?
There are no public members here.
And let's grab Member Yam.
There are no members of the public here.
All right, thank you very much. And that was the Garvey School District office in Rosemead.
That's correct.
Member Davidson, also in Rosemead,
Yes.
same location.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then Member Mukherjee in Vallejo.
There are no public members here. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And are we ready for WebEx?
This is Dr. Singleton. There are no public members in Lafayette.
My apologies, Dr. Singleton.
No worries.
Let me write that down.
There are also no members in the El Dorado room at this time.
All right, thank you. So we have no members in Lafayette and no members in the El Dorado room at DCA headquarters. Uh, WebEx is now open for public comment. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users, dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. People will be given 3 minutes to speak, and I'll give you a 30-second warning before your time expires. We're going to take just a few seconds longer to see if we have a request via WebEx by hand raise. Seeing no request, do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes. Are there any members of the public online?
We have 2 at the moment.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. All right, so moving on to agenda item number 3, and also welcome, Andy, for logging on. Good to have you. Discussion and possible action on the Department of Consumer Affairs updates. And so I think that, Rebecca, you're doing the DCA update, and then we have someone from the budget office doing our budget update.
We actually have our legislative analyst, Susan Kilcrease, who is going to be providing an update on behalf of the DCA's Board and Bureau Relations. So I'll go ahead and introduce her and welcome her.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Rebecca. Hello, my name is Susan Kilcrease. I'm from DCA's Legislative Affairs Office, and thanks for having me today to provide the DCA update. For the Governor's Recognition Plan, in January, Governor Newsom released his proposed 2025-26 state budget, which included a proposal to split DCA's oversight agency, the Business and Consumer Services and Housing Agency, into 2 state agencies, the California Housing and Homeless Agency and the Business and Consumer Service Agency. After public hearings and review by the Little Hoover Commission and the legislature, I'm pleased to share that the governor's reorganization plan was enacted on July 5th. Again, the new Business and Consumer Service Agency will be responsible for consumer affairs, licensing and enforcement, and the Department of Consumer Affairs would be among the 8 departments in this new agency. The 2 new agencies will officially become operative on July 1st, 2026. DCA continues to participate in multiple agency workshops on the logistics required to transition to the new agency, and will continue to keep board and bureau leadership apprised throughout the months ahead. DCA's annual report is one of the department's biggest projects. Staff work on this report throughout the year, gathering information and statistical data in order to compile a comprehensive report about the department's actions to submit to the legislature. On behalf of the director, thank you to the board staff for your effort and contributions. Published to the DCA website this summer, the annual report has a wealth of information and memorializes all the great work done by so many throughout the department. DCA encourages board members to take time to review it and to use it as a resource. Board member orientation. As you may remember, board member orientation, or BMOT, must be completed within 1 year of appointment and reappointment to the board. Our next session will be held on October 22nd. Board members can register for BMOT using DCA's Learning Management System, or LMS. Please reach out to the Board and Bureau Relations with any questions or assistance. The 2026 BMOT dates will be announced next month. There are new additions to DCA's executive team. We are very excited to announce that the governor recently appointed leaders to DCA's Board and Bureau Relations team. Lucy Saldivar, serving as Board and Bureau Relations' new deputy director, will join the department on October 20th. Lucy has served as chief of staff in the office of Assembly Member Lisa Calderon since 2022 and a legislative director from 2021 to 22. She held multiple roles in the office of Assemblymember Jackie Irwin from 2017 to 2021, including a legislative assistant and a Jesse M. Unruh Assembly Fellow. Saldivar is a member of the Hope Leadership Institute and the California Latino Capital Association Foundation. Shelley Jones began serving as the new Assistant Deputy Director of Board and Bureau Relations on September 25th. Shelley brings 29 years of experience working with boards and gubernatorial appointees. She has been with the department since 2015, serving in several capacities with Board and Bureau Relations, as well as DCA's strategic organizational leadership and individual development and organizational improvement offices. Prior to joining DCA, she served in multiple roles at the Juvenile Parole Board of the California Department of Corrections. We are very excited to have these new BBR team in place to serve and assist our boards and bureaus. Thank you for having me and having the opportunity to join you today.
Thank you for that. A lot of changes coming up, but they sound like good ones. We appreciate you coming. Does anyone have any questions or comments about that while we have a representative here? All right, I don't see any. Great. Then I think we're moving on to the demonstration or the presentation from the Budget Office.
Good morning. My name is Kayla Van Lint, and I am a budget analyst with the Department of Consumer Affairs Budget Office, and I am joined by the budget manager, Suzanne Balkis. I wanted to thank the board and the executive staff for allowing me to present on agenda item 3B, the board's expenditure and revenue projections, and the fund condition statement. First, I'm going to start with the board's expenditure, attachment 3B, page 1 of your materials. The projection is this report. The projections in this report are based on actual data through fiscal month 13. This report includes 2023 through 2024 actual expenditures in green, as well as 2024 through 2025 budget and projected expenditures in blue and orange. Looking at the totals at the bottom of the document, you will see the board has a beginning base budget of $755,000 and spent about $695,000, creating a reversion to the board's fund of approximately $60,000, a reversion percentage of about 8%. The next document I will review is the board's revenue projections, attachment 3B, page 2 of your materials. This report includes receipts collected through June. I will go further into these projections as we transition to the next slide. The next document is attachment 3B, page 3 of your materials. This is the board's fund condition statement. As a reminder, we read this document from top to bottom and left to right. The left column is the board's prior year, 2024 through 2025, and is based on fiscal month 13's actuals. It shows the board began 2024 through 2025 with a beginning balance of $841,000. The board collected $667,000 in revenues, with $100,000 from initial license fees, $521,000 from renewal fees, and $46,000 was collected from the issuance of citations, fines, delinquent fees, and other revenue. The board expended $721,000, which includes $26,000 in direct draws to the fund for statewide pro rata and pension payments. The board ended 2024 through 2025 with $787,000 in reserve balance, or about 12.9 months in reserve. For the current year, 2025 through 2026, the board projected revenues of $618,000, with $90,000 projected from initial license fees, about $486,000 from renewal fees, and $42,000 from the issuance of citations, fines, delinquent fees, and other revenue. The board's 2025 through 2026 expenditures based on the Budget Act is approximately $733,000 between authorized expenditures and direct draws to the fund, leaving the board with a balance of $672,000 or 10.8 months in reserve. The Budget Office will continue to monitor the board's revenue and expenditures and report back to the board with monthly expenditure projections as we continue to close fiscal months in the current fiscal years. A few things to note about the board's fund condition. The fund condition is a snapshot in time. One of the main factors driving expenditure increases in the future years is a result of personal service adjustments. These include general salary increases as well as employee compensation and retirement rate adjustments. The Budget Office includes a conservative ongoing 3% increase to expenditures on the fund condition statement to account for these ongoing incremental adjustments. You will also note that most revenues are projected static in the out years. Lastly, I would like to note that the board that any future legislation or unanticipated events could result in the board's need for additional resources, which would create cost pressure on the fund. The Budget Office will continue to monitor the board's fund condition statement and keep the lines of communication with the board's executive staff open for any future needs or expectations. Again, thank you for allowing me to present at today's meeting, and I will now be happy to answer any questions.
Hi, this is Dr. Thompson. It's, sorry, this may be a little simplistic, but it seems like our fund condition is improving. Would you say that that's a correct assessment? Like currently, I remember a few reports ago, we had about 3 or 4 months in reserve, and now we have 12, for example.
Hi, this is Suzanne, and one of the budget managers. It is improving, and just to note that current year and budget year +1 is always based on you're going to be fully expending the appropriation, but when we have actuals, that becomes a difference. So if you're having reversion, which is in your situation, in this case, we had a reversion of about 60,000, that will of course impact the fund, and it will make it the monthly reserve even higher. So we always estimate current year and ongoing, since we did not have any projections right now for current year, that we are fully expending our appropriation. So yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you so much for being here. Are there any other questions for Susanna or Kayla?
Thank you.
Okay. At this point, I'm going to ask for public comment on either this presentation on the budget or the previous DCA presentation. There are still no members of the public in San Rafael.
All right, let's check in with Dr. Tice in Fresno.
There are no members of the public here.
All right, Andy Yam in Rosemead.
There are no members of the public in Rosemead.
Thank you. Dr. Mukherjee in Vallejo.
No public members in Vallejo.
And Member Singleton in Lafayette.
Yes, there are no members here of the public.
All right. What about the El Dorado room at DCA headquarters?
We do have a public member here today with us.
Do they
no
wish?
question. There's
All
no
right.
question.
All right. Next, we're going to call on our public members in WebEx. If you'd like to make a comment, now is the time to raise your hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users, dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few more seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no requests, you wish to continue with the agenda?
item, which is agenda item number 4, is the review and possible approval of the September 17th, 2025 board meeting minutes. If we could have those shown, that'd be great. And at this point, I'm just going to reach out to the members of the board and just see if anyone had any edits or comments on that. Feel free to just unmute yourself and let us know if there's anything you think needs to be edited there.
And just in case anybody is looking in their meeting materials, it starts on page 17 through 22.
Thank you, Rebecca. All right, I'm not seeing any questions or comments from the board. I think we should see if any members of the public have questions or comments about this, these meeting minutes. Moderator, I think we need to see if there's any public comment on the meeting minutes.
My apologies. We are open for public comment. We're going to start with Dr. Thompson in San Rafael.
Still no members of the public here.
All right. And Dr. Tyson Fresno.
No members of the public here.
Member Yam in Rosemead.
There are no members of the public in Rosemead.
And that includes Member Davidson. Then we have Dr. Mukherjee in Vallejo.
No public members.
And Dr. Singleton in Lafayette.
There are no members of the public here currently.
All right, next we're going to make our call out for WebEx. If you'd like to make a comment, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few more seconds to see if we have a request for public comment.
This is Board Counsel Yiping Lin. Just wanted to check in if we check with the El Dorado room as well.
Thank you so much. While we're waiting, let's check in with the El Dorado room.
El Dorado room has no public comments. Thank you.
Thank you. And WebEx has no public comments. Do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes. So would anyone like to move that we approve these meeting minutes since there have been no comments?
This is Bruce. I'll move.
This is Andy. I'll second.
Oh. Looks like we had a second. We'll take that from Dr. Singleton. Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, so the motion is to approve the September 17th meeting minutes as written. Rebecca, do you want to do a roll call on that?
Absolutely. Dr. Dara Thompson.
Excuse me, this is a Board Counsel Yiping Lin. For items where we're making a motion and taking a vote, my apologies for not catching it earlier. We do need to take public comment after the motion is brought, and second after any board discussion and before the vote.
Got it. Okay, one more round of public comment. Thanks for catching that. There's still no one in San Rafael.
Nobody in the El Dorado.
All right, Fresno.
There are no one's here in this office.
All right, let's check in with our Rosemead location.
No members of the public here.
And Vallejo, please.
No public members.
And finally, Lafayette.
No public members here.
All right, physical locations checked. Let's check one more time on WebEx. Once again, please raise a hand by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. We're going to take just a few more seconds to see if we have a request for public comment. Seeing no requests, you wish to continue with the motion?
Yes, thank you. Rebecca, can you start the roll call vote again?
Of course, Dr. Dara Thompson.
Aye.
Dr. Vera Singleton.
Should I abstain because I wasn't here for the meeting last month?
I'll defer to our legal counsel on that.
Yes, if you haven't had a chance to review the, or I guess if you weren't at the meeting, yes, you abstain.
I did review the meeting minutes, but I wasn't at attendance, so.
Right.
Okay. All right. Dr. Satara Tice.
I abstain.
Dr. Deparshi Mukherjee.
Aye.
Mr. Andy Yam.
Aye.
And Dr. Bruce Davidson. Dr. Davidson?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was unmuted. Aye.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we do not have enough votes to move this. So right now we've only got 4 yeses and 2 abstentions. We need.
Well, are the members who were not present allowed to vote it forward just because they reviewed it, or are they just not allowed to? I guess that's the question here.
This is Board Council Finland. By my count, we have the majority of the members that are present, correct?
Yes, the majority of the members that are present have voted aye on this.
Okay, so then that would pass. It's not the majority of the total board. That makes sense.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you.
so since we have quorum and the majority of the members present have voted aye, then it still passes?
Correct.
Okay, great.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, wonderful. Then we are going to move on to agenda item number 5, which is the executive officer's report, discussion and possible action on the executive officer's report. So Rebecca, you'll be doing this, correct? So on updates on the program, the licensing program, and consumer protection services program.
Thank you. So I just wanted to note that due to the need to prioritize the Sunset Review report and the development of the stakeholder survey for this meeting, we will be tabling the updates for the licensing program, consumer protection services program under agenda 5. These items will be brought forward to you for your review for the next board meeting. So sorry for not having it this meeting for you, but I hope that you guys understand the prioritizing of the report.
So are we just, is there anything on agenda item number 5 that we do want to discuss today?
No, there's nothing under agenda item 5 that we have for today.
Okay, great. So then we will move on to agenda item number 6, which is a status update and report of the board's current rulemaking proposals. Who is doing this update, Rebecca?
I am.
Okay, great.
Great. All right, so for agenda item 6, you can see the table with the current rulemaking proposal information on your screen. And this can also be found in your meeting materials on page 28. Here you'll see an outline of the progress of the board's current rulemaking proposals. Not much has changed since last month's meeting. Most recently, the rulemaking package for the delegation of functions was approved by the Office of Administrative Law on September 16th, 2025. This rulemaking will be effective on January 1st, 2026. Both the inactive and retired status rulemaking packages are currently under staff review. We anticipate having proposed language ready for the board's consideration at a future meeting. IV and Advanced Injection Advisory Committee was still working on the IV injection proposal and will provide recommendations to the full board, but the proposal remains under development. And staff will be working with the Regulatory Council on disciplinary guidelines and uniform standard rulemaking package coming up soon. Just a quick update for you guys for that. And that is it. Are there any questions from the members? Okay. I think you're muted, Dr. Thompson.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, thank you for that. I don't see any public or any questions or comments from the members of the board. So moderator, can we ask for public comment at this point?
Absolutely. We're going to start with WebEx this time. Now is the time to raise your hand if you wish to make a comment. You can do so by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. And while we're waiting for the internet, let's check in with our physical locations, starting with Dr. Thompson in San Rafael.
There are no members of the public in San Rafael.
Dr. Tice in Fresno.
There are no members of the public here.
Member Yam in Rosemead.
There are no members of the public here in Rosemead.
And thank you, and that includes Member Davidson. Dr. Mukherjee in Vallejo.
No public members here.
And Dr. Singleton in Lafayette.
No public members here. Thank you.
And we have no requests online. Do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, thank you. At this point, we are moving on to sort of the meatier portion of our agenda. The first is agenda item number 7, discussion and possible action on advisory committee meeting updates and recommendations. My recommendation would be to go through this and then take a brief break before we do our sunset review. Let's just, who's doing this update? Rebecca, is this you?
Yes, this is me. However, due to time constraints and everybody's schedules, we were unable to hold any of the advisory committee meetings since the last board meeting. As a result, there's no updates here, but a doodle poll will be sent out shortly after this meeting to coordinate at least one more meeting for each of the advisory committees before the next meeting. So
okay. Wasn't there some issue with the IV and advanced injection therapy language, but was that something that Christy needed to speak to the advisory committee on, and not the full board?
Yeah, so we're going to have both DP and Christy at the next advisory meeting for IV therapy and advanced injections. So
okay.
that'll be forthcoming after this meeting.
Oh, okay, great. So we're actually moving on to the bulk of our meeting, which is the sunset review. So agenda item 8, discussion and possible action on the 2026 sunset review report. And we do have a draft of this. So did we want to start, Rebecca, how do you want to do this? Should we start with just asking for comments or questions from the board, or do you want to run through it and take questions as we go? What would be your preference? You've spent so much time and work on this.
Sure, I can actually, really quick, I'll just go out to the board to see if there were any questions on it. Just as a reminder, this agenda item 8 can be found starting on page 35 of your meeting materials. If you have any of the board members have any questions or concerns or comments on the draft, please let me know. Other than that, I'll start going through it. So I'll just give you guys a few moments.
I'm sorry, this is Bruce. Rebecca, were you saying that as you go through it, we can bring things up, or did you want us to bring everything up now?
You know, as we go through it, we can definitely bring things up, but if there's something glaring right now, please let me know. I'll write it down. That way we can come to it when we're at that part of the sunset. I'm thinking would probably be the easiest way.
Oh, I see. Well, I have a few wording things. I mean, I don't know if they're glaring or not, but I'm not sure exactly. You want me to bring it up now?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. In section 3, describe any major changes to the board since the last sunset review. There's a bullet point, the second bullet point under all legislation sponsored by the board and affecting the board since the last sunset review. I was, in terms of wording, the response in there talks about the naturopathic medicine industry, but it seems as though it may be more accurate to say the naturopathic medicine profession.
Yes, I'm sorry, what number under section 3 are you in?
Where are we at? This is section 1, I guess. Wait, let me just check. Section 1, item 3.
Okay, let me take a look here.
Yeah, it's still section 1, I guess. Item 3. Second bullet.
Oh, I see it. Okay, I will definitely make a change to that.
It just sounds more like how we want to present ourselves.
Absolutely.
And then a little farther along in that same under that same bullet, there may be a couple of typos. The word "no" appears to have been left out in the section on 2023 legislation and 2024 legislation. Elsewhere, under 2021, it said there was no enacted legislation, but perhaps it's a cut and paste O, or
yeah,
as opposed to a typo.
Correct.
The word "no" was left out of those two statements there.
All right, I got those.
What else? And I guess the other, I wanted to talk some more with us. I wanted to suggest that we talk some more about the table you added in. It's much later on that we'd asked about with regard to changes in the licensure, in the number of license applications when there was certain legislation. So that's probably more of a major topic of discussion that we should just hold until we get there, huh?
Sure. Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, that's it then. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for those. All right. I'm going to have you, can we please have the sunset report put up on the screen, please? All right. So just to help guide our discussion today, I wanted to briefly explain the color coding used in the draft. The green text reflects content that was approved during our September 17th, 2025 meeting. The purple text includes additions made since our last meeting and is color coded to assist our regulatory counsel with the sections for their review. These are items usually related to regulations. The blue text represents new content added since the September meeting and is the primary focus on today's discussion. And the orange text highlights amendments made within previously approved green text sections. So hopefully that's very clear. With that, let's go ahead and begin the review of the blue sections. So for section 1, and I'm just going to follow along as well in my stuff. So section 1 is the background, starts on page 35 of your meeting materials. We added the minor office procedure makeup and functions under number 1, added all the members' attendance to table 1A. However, just so that you guys are aware, I'll be removing the rows that have the not applicable for the members that didn't participate in those meetings due to the fact that they're not on those advisory committee meetings. So I'll take them out just so that it's a little bit neater, just a little clearer for the legislature when they start looking at this. Let's see what else was added. The purple text in this section, starting on page 44 and 46, of course, is for regulations. We also corrected Dr. Yoon's information on table 1B. Question 4, we'll have the survey study, survey results study. I'm sorry, the survey study results added to this section. Section 2 starts on page 48. Added the data table 2 in for the fund condition. These numbers were confirmed by the budget office. You'll see the increase in expenditures here in 23-24 when we filled the position for the enforcement unit. As a reminder, the board was directed to hire this position during the last sunset and held off hiring until we had funding. Unfortunately, at the same time, cost of other items increased as well, causing an imbalance in our fund. Now that the tables have been completed, staff will write up the narratives and provide them to our advisory members, Drs. Tice and Davidson, for review before our next meeting on 11/19/2025. Table 3 shows the expenditures. You will see fiscal year 23-24 has an increase of expenditures there. And I will be reviewing some of these things that I've sent over to the budget office. I just had some questions about the pro rata. There was a really big jump from our 23-24. Hold on a second, I'm looking for it so I can. See, page 48. All right, sorry about that. So on page 49, the table 3 shows a jump in pro rata. 21-22, it was 61,000. 22-23, it was 7,000. And then it jumps up to 215,000 and then 195,000 in 24-25. So I've asked the budget office to provide an explanation of what was included in that pro rata. I'm not sure if it has DFI charges in there. It shouldn't, but I just can't imagine why it went up so much. So I'm having them check on that for me just to make sure that there wasn't an error there. Are there any questions so far before I move forward to section 3? Because the fiscal is a pretty intense section. I just wanted to give you the chance to bring anything up now. Okay, seeing none. All right, so section 3, the licensing program, completed and approved a lot of this section during the last meeting. This starts on page 53 of your meeting materials. A table was added showing the correlation between the data between licensing population and legislative milestones. I believe that this is what Dr. Davidson was referring to, and that's on page 53 of your meeting materials, page 19 of the actual report itself. The table is titled The Naturopathic Doctor License Population and Legislative Milestones from Fiscal Year 2014 through 25.
This is Bruce. So I noticed in your comments, Rebecca, that you thought maybe we needed to remove this table. Could you reflect on that for us a little bit?
So I'm looking here, and it just doesn't, it does show a big increase, overall change in the population size in 2015-16 when the SB 538 was introduced. That was a 2-year bill, so we still seen a nice increase in 2017-18. So both of those were a 17.1% and a 9.9%. The next year, although there wasn't any legislative efforts, the professional association still continued their lobbying efforts. So we still seen there a 13.9% increase. And then after that, it starts going down a little bit. And from that point on, it just goes down a lot. So I wasn't sure if this is actually showing what we wanted it to show. I mean, it does show that during the SB 538, which was the really big scope expansion or scope modernization bill, we had a lot more applications, a lot more people that were renewing their license and not allowing them to go delinquent, but then the delinquency after that just starts going back up. So I'm not sure if there's still that correlation. I think we can leave it in here until we start getting those results back from that survey and see if both of those, the survey and this data, actually will show that correlation.
Thanks. Yes, I see. I understand what you mean. Yeah, that probably be good to leave it in until we get back the survey results. I mean, your point, I think, is well taken that we have one example where it appears as though there was that effect. So it's not dramatically seen elsewhere, but that one example is there. I forget, did that SB 538, did that ultimately pass or not? Do you have that information?
So it passed both floors, and then when it got to approps, it got killed. So it was at the very tail end at the second year. It was just one of those things that played out not to our the way that we wanted it to, but it just yeah.
And then the professional association lobbying efforts. Is there some documentation relative to that?
So it was, I just know it because I was there, but there's nothing documenting that. I could probably get some information from them showing what all of their efforts were in that year. I know that they were taking kind of a step back, kind of re-looking at everything and then pushing forward again. I believe that was the year too that we had a lot of change in the legislature. I'm not sure, I'd have to actually go and take a look, but we had a lot of staff changes over there. So it could be that they were just kind of regrouping and going back and introducing themselves to new folks. But that's just speculation. I'd have to really go and look at that.
I see. Okay. Well, yeah, I guess because that in that time period there was also a continued increase in the percent change, but I don't want to make it too burdensome with regard to that. I realize that's more of a observation, I guess, than perhaps based upon specific documentation.
Yeah. And I think I forgot to put 19 and 20 in there, so I'll add that there also. I don't know that we had a lot going on. I believe 1920, that would have been the first half of COVID, so we may not have been getting a lot of new licensees at that time anyway, just because of what was going on in the world. But I will add that as well, just to make sure that I didn't miss some data that we really need to see. And people are going to ask why we don't have fiscal year 1920 there, so I'll definitely add that. I just noticed it.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for putting this together. It's good to see it.
All right, of course. All right. Any other questions about that before we move along?
I do have it's sort of a question comment. This is Dr. Singleton. Um, I'm wondering I see the purpose for the table. I'm just wondering what was the original intent behind including it for the
So
purpose
basic,
of the sunset bill.
absolutely. So let me get you caught up. So basically, what we were trying to do is show in our last sunset, in the background paper, the legislators asked why there was so many delinquent license statuses. We always have such a big population that's in a delinquent status. Basically, it's because they just choose not to renew, so they leave it in a delinquent status for 3 years, and then it automatically cancels. There's no way in our statute right now that allows us to cancel a license, even on the recommendation or request of the licensee. We are not allowed to cancel a license. We would have to have that into statute, I would guess. Because of that question, we wanted to answer why we had so many delinquencies, but then we also started looking at why we're having such a small population, and it looks like the reason for that usually goes kind of circles around any kind of legislative efforts that may provide a more expanded modern scope of practice for naturopathic doctors in California. We have a lot of folks that are coming and they apply. They're also licensed in Oregon, Washington, so they have a very broad, full scope of practice in other states. So when they come here, I would think that they would be expecting to have the same the same practice rights, and they don't. So a lot of times they'll come here, they are dissatisfied with the scope that they have here, and they leave, which is why we're having a survey conducted right now to find out from those folks who have left the state and let their license lapse, what reasons there were behind them leaving the state, whether it had to do with scope, so that we can kind of let the legislature know, hey, you know, the original intent of the Naturopathic Doctors Act was to have advisory councils made up of physicians and surgeons, pharmacists, and naturopathic doctors that could review the education and training of naturopathic doctors and come up with a scope that matches it. Unfortunately, that has not happened. You know, you guys know as good as anybody that the scope of practice here is more restrictive than in our neighboring states. So we're trying to look for parity, but we're trying to show the picture of why we need a modernized scope here. We're losing licensees to other states, and we're losing business out of the state of California because of it.
Understood. So when is the end point for the survey, and when do you
It closes on the 22nd, the evening of the 22nd. So by the 23rd, I'll have the results.
Okay, and then that information will be included here
Yes,
as well?
that is correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep. Got it. Thank you.
Of course. Any other questions before I move on? Okay, perfect. So let's see here. So on page 57 for the examinations, this information has been added since the September meeting. And basically it just kind of breaks down how the examination is administered, who's responsible for the administration. I also put in here, I believe it's this section. Oh, no, that was already done at the last meeting, so that's fine. I do want to bring to your guys' attention on page 60 for number 26, although the board approved the response during the September meeting, I tightened the response up a little bit. I did leave the green approved text there for you, but I also added the text that's in orange underneath it. So please feel free to look at it and decide which text option you'd rather go with. I'm fine if you don't want to go with the newer version of that, but I thought that it just kind of gave a little bit more context.
Rebecca,
So,
where was this modification again? On page 60?
So page 60 of the meeting material, page 26 of the actual report. It's going to be number 26. When did the board last conduct an occupational analysis that validated the requirements for a California specific examination? When does the board plan to revisit? So basically, the section above it, so the response in green, was there, it was fine, but I wanted to tighten it up a little bit. So basically I just added that the National Naturopathic Physicians License Examination, or NPLEX, undergoes regular occupational analysis conducted by independent psychometric experts at Mountain Measurement in Portland, Oregon. On behalf of the North American Board of Naturopathic Examiners, or NABNE, this nationally validated process ensures the examination reflects current naturopathic practice and aligns with the intent of Business and Professions Code Section 139. Requiring a separate state-specific OA conducted by the department's Office of Professional Examination Services, OPES, would duplicate existing efforts and impose unnecessary costs to the board, as estimated to exceed $50,000. The board respectfully requests that the legislature recognize the NABNE conducted OA as sufficient to meet the statutory requirements of Section 139. Regarding the NPLEX examination more broadly, the most recent occupational practice analysis was completed in 2021. NABNE follows a routine schedule for conducting OAs every 5 to 7 years, and there's been no issues or changes in practice that would necessitate an earlier review. So basically, we have what's called a Section 139, where the any of these exams need to be tested and make sure that they're, they're still current and that kind of thing. We were in discussions with the Office of Professional Examination Services here at the Department of Consumer Affairs, and they gave us a quote to do the service for us, and it was over $50,000. And we just don't have that kind of money to be paying for an exam that we haven't nothing to. I mean, we just have no say over that exam. We don't have a state exam. It is the only exam that is used for any of the states in the United States. And so to ask to use a different exam or a state exam would be absurd. It would cost us well over $70,000 just to develop our own exam. But to come up with $50,000 to review an exam that there's nothing that we have the ability to do, I think is just excessive. So we're going to request, respectfully, of course, that they that the legislature look at this and that it use it to meet that requirement of Section 139.
I think that this modified text is sufficient and is succinct to describe what the situation is. So
perfect. Anybody else? Everybody else in agreement with that?
Yes, this is Bruce.
Perfect. All right. Thank you for that. I appreciate you allowing me to make that amendment. Okay.
Rebecca, I just want to point out that your screen is kind of farther back, still on that table we were discussing earlier.
Oh, sorry. Can you guys go to page 60, moderator?
I am sorry, I didn't quite catch that. That was page 60?
Yeah, it'll be 26 on the actual report if you can't see the.
26 is the number I needed. Thank you so much.
Yep, 26 is the number you need. Sorry. I'll call out both page numbers. Okay, so let's see here. Jumping right along to page, give me one moment, 66 or 32 on the report. Okay, let's see here. A table on page 66 still needs to be completed. That'll be done this week. I'll be working on all of the audit information. And then the remainder of the section responses were completed pages 66 through 69, which is page 32 through 35. Were there any questions on those sections? Okay. All right, moving right along to section 4, page 70 of the meeting materials, page 36 of the Sunset Report. Page 70 had added responses for the board performance measures. I will need to go back and fill in the data for the highlighted area for the highest and lowest cycle times now that the tables have all been completed. Table 9 on page 71 or page 37 of the report has all been completed now. And all the enforcement statistics are in there. And page 74, 40, page 40 of the Sunset Report for table 10, you will see that our aging looks really good, closing the majority of the investigations within 90 days, Attorney General cases within 1 year. There are several questions in this section that can now be completed since the data tables have been done. Table 11 on page 78 or page 44 of the report shows the cost recovery amounts for the 2 AG cases in 2022-23 and 23-24. Are there any questions on the enforcement section?
I do have a quick comment.
Sure.
Let's see if I can find this. So on page 70 in the meeting minutes, I was just thinking, this is in regards to question 32. Perhaps we can move, just to be very poignant about answering the question, I think we can move that short paragraph of unlicensed activity continues to represent a majority, We can move that down to right before, in addition, the board has implemented a compliant focused.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm just getting there. Okay, so you want to move. Okay, so this is going to be for question 32 on page 36 of the actual report. And which, I'm sorry, which section?
That very first paragraph, the unlicensed activity continues to represent the majority.
Okay.
That paragraph, and we can move that to right before, in addition, the board has implemented a compliant focused. Let me see if that's the right area. Oh, sorry, it'll be above to address this, the paragraph right before that.
Okay, give me 1 second. Sorry, I just jumped ahead. Okay, So you want to take the unlicensed activity continues, and you want to put it where?
Just move it, instead of it being the first paragraph, just move it under,
You basically want to switch the order of the
yeah.
two statements that are on the bottom of page 70. So it starts out, the board is actively working to strengthen. And
Okay.
then right after that, you move this section where
Unlicensed
unlicensed activity continues to represent the majority of the board's enforcement caseload, which I think actually does flow a little better.
Got it. Yep, I agree. All right, so I made that change. Okay, and any other ones?
Forgive me if you addressed this already, Rebecca, but starting on item number 35, I noticed there's a lot of areas that aren't filled in here.
Item 35. Give me a second. Go back to it.
Again, 35 says, are there mandatory reporting requirements? What's the dollar threshold for settlement reports by the board?
And yeah, now that we have all of the data put in there, I've been kind of going back in the areas that we needed the data for. I'll start putting the narratives in there. So I will be doing that. 35, 36, all the way through the end of page 44 or 78 through.
So that's basically just plugging in the numbers.
Plugging in numbers and explaining why the cost went up or down or whatever. Yeah. So that'll all be in the next meeting material.
Okay.
Okay. All right. If there's no other questions, I will go ahead and jump along. So section 5, public information policies, starts on page 80 or page 46, sunset report. Added all the responses to this section, and this section should now be complete. So is there any questions about any of this? This is just basically all of the policy on how we do our meetings, where we're putting our notices, regulatory updates, that type of thing. So just answered all of this information in here. Moderator, can we go to page 46, please? Many thanks. Any questions from the board members on these? Okay. All right, so then we will just jump over to page 82 of the meeting material, page 48 of the sunset report. For section 6, the online practice issues. This section still needs to be completed, so there's nothing in here yet, but we'll be talking about the telehealth presence of licensees. We'll also talk about the unlicensed activity for practice issues that are online. We don't see a lot of, I guess, violations or anything with our own licensees for the most part, but we have been seeing a lot of issues and violations on the unlicensed folks with online activity. So we'll be kind of incorporating that in this section. Section 7, workforce development and job creation, also starting on that same page and going through page 49 and 83 of your meeting materials. This information is not here yet, but I'll be putting this in. Basically, we'll be discussing the underserved populations, areas being treated by NDs. The licensees is great. Over 80% of our licensed population works in underserved areas and with underserved populations. Additionally, we'll be discussing that 75% of our workforce for naturopathic profession are females, and that practicing and that those practices are leaving California due to limited scope. So we're losing, not only losing doctors, we're losing, women-owned medical practices. So we'll be including all of that in this section, but I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up on what I was thinking about placing in this section. But if you have any other items that you want placed here, just let me know. But I'll be working on this in the next week.
Rebecca, that sounds great for that section. If we can go back up to section 6, number 56, regarding, it just says that you're going to talk about telehealth presence of licensees. Like, what are you planning to say there?
So basically, this section, they want to know about the online practice issues, if we're noticing any like telehealth, any online violations. I'm guessing we have somebody here in the public that is from the Business and Professions and Development Committee and could probably speak to this. So I will ask her any questions, and I'll let her introduce herself as well. And I can probably do that right now.
Hi, Yafana Lamar here from Senate Business Professions and Economic Development. We're still assigning programs, so I don't know if I will have your report, if I'll be assigned to your report, but if the Senate takes the lead on your bill, then I will be assigned to it. Can the moderator scroll up so I can see the question 56? So online practice, what we're looking for is also if you not only violations by licensees, but typically this is where a lot of unlicensed practice happens, where people advertise to offer services that are within the regulated scope of naturopathic medicine. So if people are doing that, if they're presenting themselves online as a ND or offering the services of an ND without a license, that's what would be discussed here.
Would we want to have any percentages of how much telehealth our providers are actually doing? Because I think in medicine in general, telehealth has really skyrocketed since the COVID pandemic. A lot of people are doing their visits.
If you have data.
But that data wouldn't be required if we don't have it, I guess.
If you don't have it, no. You can talk about it anecdotally, and whoever is assigned to the background paper for your program will be meeting frequently and asking questions. So if you don't have it right now or in time to put it in the report, you can certainly provide it to us later on. Our background papers are usually due in the middle of February. So we'll be working with Rebecca and board members for the entire month of January and half of February.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Lamar. Appreciate that.
Rebecca, I'm curious, are these questions new to this sunset period?
There are some in here that are new, and I believe the online practice issue is.
Are we able to answer this accurately?
So this is not a new question, but I don't know if it was on the questionnaire the last time you went through Sunset. So I know it's not new this year or last year, but I don't know if it was on it 4 years ago. I don't have it in front of me, and my computer just died.
I just don't recall having to answer this during our last sunset, so it may have been added within the years since then. But I can definitely check our last report just to make sure, but I just don't recall this section.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that it was not there. It could just be my old age.
I you're not that old. I guess it still comes down to the question of can we answer this accurately? I don't know if we have real statistics on this, do we?
We can. So with the majority of our unlicensed folks, the fortunate thing is most of them are online, and the majority of them do not have the proper disclaimers. The majority of them are showing that they diagnose or interpret medical lab exams, which they're not allowed to do. So there's a lot of things that we find in their online presence and is how we can find most of their violations. So the majority, and I want to say at least 90, I would say, just being conservative, I would say at least 90% of those unlicensed violations are found online. That's where we confirm that there is a violation happening. So it's pretty easy to come up with those numbers.
Mm-hmm. And so the second bullet point of how does the board regulate online and internet business practices outside of California? Is this specific to unlicensed activity or licensed providers doing
No, so
business outside of
that's
California?
Sorry about that. Yeah, that's a good question. We have received a couple of enforcement cases where there's been a complaint about a naturopathic doctor, and when we go and that they say that they're not licensed here in California, and when you go and actually look them up, they are licensed, but they're licensed in Arizona or they're licensed in Connecticut. And unfortunately, they're not really seeing patients here in California, but somebody from California has stumbled upon their website because they're looking for a naturopathic doctor. So they start saying, well, this person is pretending to be a naturopathic doctor. They're not, really a naturopathic doctor. I looked on your Breeze site and they're not there, but then they're not really doing anything wrong. They're licensed in their state. They're not dealing with a California patient. So we've had some of those before. We've also had some where there is somebody from out of state and they're practicing here. And so, at that point we have to give them a, cease and desist, stop, practicing basically telehealth with California residents unless you have a California license. So there was one or two of those in there, but for the most part, these are usually unlicensed activity people in California. Some of them are outside of California. We had one not too long ago where she was, from the East Coast somewhere, and she became compliant. She was not, I guess, going out looking for people from California per se, but a lot of people were drawn to her website because she's got a big presence on social media. So that's how we came about it, as somebody had actually sent in a complaint.
Mm-hmm.
But when we, send them that educational letter, the majority of them come compliant. But yeah, there is a lot that we can put in this section.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move along to section 8, which are the current issues. This is going to be page 83, page 49 of the meeting materials. I'm sorry, page 49 of the Sunset Report, and page 83 of your meeting materials. This next section still needs to be completed. The section speaks to how the board's participating in development of online application and payment capability and any other secondary IT issues affecting the board. I can say that although this has not been done yet, we really don't have any issues. We, as a small board, I have to say that I'm extremely proud of my staff. We have actually put almost every single application that we have online on Breeze. We have went away from paper applications. We've really made our online presence pretty easily for licensees and applicants to log on, do what they need to do, and get off. They don't even need to call us anymore. They don't need to send in change of addresses or change of names. They can do everything through our Breeze website. So I'll be kind of speaking to that in this section, but other than that, this is going to be a really easy section to put in there. But this is a new question since our last sunset report. I do know that for sure. Any questions on section 8? All right. So same page 83 and page 84, or page 49 and 50 of the sunset report. This is for the board action and responses to prior sunset issues. Responses were added in blue starting on page 85 through 102. The board updates for all of the prior sunset issues still needs to be added here, but that shouldn't take long because all we need to do now is just put what we've accomplished in these issues since our last sunset. Were there any questions about those issues?
This is Bruce. In issue number 2, that first paragraph, I thought your comments were interesting in the beginning there, that first paragraph. So just to go over that for a moment, the official membership of the committee is 5 naturopathic doctors, 2 MD or ODs, and 2 public members. So you introduced some question about the legitimacy, I guess, of counting the physician and surgeon members as professional members. Is that important for us to highlight? I'm not sure why that question is being raised here.
So we are one of the only boards under the Department of Consumer Affairs that has a different profession on our board as a professional member. And it was done that way on purpose at the time that we were a committee under the Osteopathic Medical Board, because what happened was 2 of our NDs were placed on the actual Osteopathic Medical Board as board members. When the legislature tried to kind of untangle that and make the 2 boards autonomous from each other, what happened was then the Naturopathic Committee got its own board. The 2 members that were placed on the Osteopathic Medical Board were then removed and put onto their own board. And at the time, they put physicians on the board as well. And I'm guessing that this is done because the original intent when the Naturopathic Doctors Act was created was to have physicians and surgeons involved to make sure that the scope of practice met the training and that it was done in a safe way. So basically, the reason that we have physicians and surgeons on our board was because of that original intent and the kind of disengagement of the 2, the Osteopathic Medical Board and our board, kind of getting untangled. But we are, I think, one of the only boards that has a different profession that sits on the board as a professional member. There are public members, of course, on every other board, but we do have 2 physicians and surgeons. So that's the reason that we kind of bring it up in here, because we've been asked in the past, why do you guys have, physicians and surgeons on the board? And we've had to answer this before, so we just kind of put it in here to let them know in advance.
I see, yes. Because it strikes me in a way, it strikes me that it's an advantage to have these physician and surgeon members, particularly since we often feel as though we express the feeling that some of the opposition to scope expansion comes from that direction. So in a sense, having physician and surgeon members on the board may be a way of bridging that gap.
Right. And I think on, let's see here, I believe it's the last. So in the background, 1, 2, 3, in the fourth paragraph, and I believe it starts on page 86 of your meeting material, and that's page 52 of the Sunset report. Basically, that kind of outlines and says, considering the numerous benefits of having professional perspectives in deliberations by the committee regarding the practice of naturopathic medicine, this technical imbalance is unlikely to be in need of any further statutory change. However, the committee should remain mindful whenever it engages in formal decision making. So basically, I think that we as a board now still find benefit of having the physician and surgeons, especially when we have are creating those advisory committees and we need their feedback for the what's going on in the medical realm out there. So I think that it's good. If you want me to make any changes to this section, please let me know and I will be glad to do so.
Rebecca?
Okay.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Bruce.
I'll just, if I may, just finish up my thought. So I'm not sure about changes. I guess as a public member, and who has worked in hospitals with many doctors over the years, have had several conversations with some of my physician colleagues, some of my MD colleagues about my role on the Naturopathic Medicine Committee, the board of Naturopathic Medicine, and I get quite varied reactions from that. Some MDs are appreciative of the role that NDs can play in the care of patients, and others are not, frankly, as I'm sure you're all aware. So it strikes me that there's, historically, there may also be a reason for this related to that concern, if you will, about trying to gain positive perspective on the part of the Board of Medicine for MDs, perhaps, and the California Medical Association, so that there are, I know you were bringing my eye to the section later on here, which talks about the benefits, and I think there are benefits to be had. So I'm not sure that it's curiously or not, perhaps curiously, it strikes me as logically that there would be this mixed membership, frankly, as a public member. So I guess that'd be the only wording that I might comment on and ask for you to think about adjusting a bit. And then it also just makes me think more about the relationship that naturopathic doctors and medical doctors have professionally, and how much of how many of our challenges appear to be really based upon the lack of appreciation for the role of the naturopathic doctor by the medical doctor community, and the extent to which this can be used to help us bridge that. So I'll stop there with regard to that aspect of the board's membership.
Absolutely. Really quick, can I have the meeting materials on the screen put to page 52, please?
And then I did have one other comment that I'll make, and this is just a perspective I'm sharing with the group here now, the board. So when we do the roll and we ask for whether there are members of the public present at our various sites, I note that the language that some of us use to express an answer to that question seems to me to confuse the wording for members of the public and public members. So Andy Yem and I are public members. so that when we're asking whether there are members of the public present in any site, the correct answer would be no, there are no members of the public, or yes, there are members of the public, rather than public members, if you get
Agree.
my gist.
Totally, absolutely. And I didn't go down far enough when I was looking at the response. So just so that you guys are aware, in this section of this report, these are the prior background questions that were posed to our board by the legislature. So we can't change any of that, but what we can do is where it says current response, that is our response, the current response, and anything that we've done since then, any updates that we basically want to give back to the legislature. This is our opportunity to do so here. So if you look at the current response to that, we put that the board affirms that the current membership structure continues to support comprehensive and balanced discussions, allowing for effective decision making that reflects a range of perspectives. At this time, the board does not identify any concerns with the composition of, or functions of its membership. However, the board would like to reserve the option to revisit and evaluate the structure in the future to ensure it remains appropriate and responsive to the evolving needs of the profession and the public it serves. So is that okay? Does that need to be changed, wordsmithed at all?
I see. Thank you for highlighting that. Yes, I think that's okay.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I think Rebecca, that is a good way to word it. I feel like for myself, having so valued our MD and DO members through the years, adding something along the lines of, like, I would not in any way want to disrespect the contribution of those members through the years, because I have appreciated all of them and so appreciate the time and energy they've put into the board. And so I'd want to say something to that effect. But I think it's also interesting, and I'm glad that you brought attention to this, that they are on the board. I just, while we were talking, was thinking about a similar correlation as far as supervision agreements. And, the Board of Registered Nursing, which licenses nurses who are always supervised by physicians, and nurse practitioners who I believe have a supervisory agreement in California, doesn't have any physician members, for example. And it's an interesting, like, as we've been saying, it's an interesting tightrope to walk, to say, we value these members. They are so helpful on our board, and yet it is still odd that they are required to be there,
Yeah.
So I feel like, what you've said is good. I would like to add something about appreciating the contribution of our physician and surgeon members through the years, because I know that's true for me, and I would imagine true for the other board members.
Perfect. Yeah.
Hi, this is DeParshi. I just want to chime in a little bit. Really appreciate the comments, especially what Bruce shared. It's kind of a double-edged sword, right? I'm here as a non-ND, but I think there's opportunities for bridging, and I think Rebecca said it really well, kind of comparing what's happening in the medical osteopathic world to what's happening in the naturopathic world. And there is a lot of overlap, and I've learned so much while I've been on this committee, just learning about naturopaths and their value. So yeah, it is a little strange, no doubt. I think that's kind of what everyone's getting at. But I think it is an opportunity to bridge and create more awareness among the medical community about the value of naturopaths. Because for me, that's really been a game changer. As an osteopath with 21 years of experience, I've always valued naturopaths. It's been hard learning who does what, who's good at what, and then what's available in your community for patients to use and visit. But I've learned so much more about just kind of the role of naturopaths. And I think there really is overlap with naturopaths, osteopaths, and allopaths. Many naturopaths are primary care doctors, and many patients only go to naturopaths. So And I think in California, we do need to get up to speed with some of the other states as we've been learning, or I've been learning. So, I'm happy to help where I can. Obviously, it's a little strange that I'm not a naturopath. And it's interesting if some point down the road, maybe it's only naturopaths on this committee. But for now, I'm happy to help in whatever way and kind of create more awareness and, create more bridging with some of the medical and osteopathic societies.
Thank you so much. We so appreciate having you on the board, actually.
Yeah, I've learned so much. It's been really great. And I love Bruce's perspective coming as the public member and really kind of going through this, line by line. I always learn so much listening to Bruce. So thank you, Bruce.
What I think while we're talking about this is not so much like that we shouldn't have other professions on our board, but maybe more of the other boards should, like I think that perspective is valuable. And I wonder if we could frame it in a positive light by saying, this has been so valuable for us. Maybe other people should try. We'd be happy to be on some other people's boards.
Of course.
Although, given that we often have trouble filling all the spaces on our board, maybe that's not such a good plan. But anyways, I do think it's very valuable.
I agree. I definitely agree. I will go ahead and make sure I tighten that up with the appreciation of the contributions and perspectives, efforts by the physician members that we've had on our board in the years, and looking forward to continuing working with them until the legislature decides to make a change that we're not asking for right now. So I think we'll be okay. As long as they don't take any of our members away, we're good.
May I ask, Rebecca, this is Dr. Vera, if we were to make a change and opt for removing those seats off, it would have to be, we couldn't do that. It would have to come from a Senate.
Yeah, it would need to come from the legislature. That's a statutory change. It would need to be changed in statute.
Okay.
Of course. All right. Any other questions?
I wanted to just check in and see how much more time we have on the sunset. Just realizing that many people have been here for 2 hours and people might need a bio break.
Sure. We could probably go for a little break. I think that you guys may have some questions on the next section, which is basically the last section that we have. But if we want to take a 10-minute bio break, that would be fine.
Okay, let's just do that. I don't want anyone to suffer. So it is now 10:46. So we would reconvene at 10:56 a.m.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, wonderful.
AM.
AM, correct.
Are we up yet?
This is the moderator.
Oh, go ahead, moderator.
My apologies. We're looking for President Thompson. Hold on just a moment, please.
No problem. Just want to make sure I wasn't, in some sense, muted here.
No, we had a disconnect.
Thank you.
Dr. Thompson, are you with us?
Yes, I think I managed to get logged back on.
Welcome back.
Okay, hi, I had to switch computers. All right. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, wonderful. So at this point, sorry, now I have to reopen my agenda. We're on the Sunset Review. What page were we on, Rebecca? 880.
We are on page, let me see, we just went through page 83, 84, all the way through 102. So we should now be on section 10, page 102 in the meeting material, page 68 on the Sunset Report.
Okay, wonderful.
Do we need to take roll call?
All right.
We will.
Oh, I think you're right. Thank you. Wonderful. So Rebecca, can you take a roll call to make sure everyone's back?
Absolutely. Dr. Dara Thompson.
Present.
Dr. Singleton.
Present.
Dr. Satara Tice.
Present.
Dr. Mukherjee.
Present.
Mr. Andy Yam.
Present.
Thank you. And Dr. Bruce Davidson.
Present.
All right, we have quorum. Okay. So section 10 are the new issues. Page 102 of, again, in your meeting material, page 68 on the report. This section is for newly identified issues that the board wants to bring forth. The fictitious name permit issue goes under section 9. So issue number 1 may need to be moved. I just kind of noticed that I put it in the wrong area there. So I'll be moving that along with issue number 2, which is the additional title protection. This is also a prior issue, but one that's very important. This might need to be moved to section 9 as well. Issue number 3, remove practices trained barriers, was also added, and that starts on page 105 of your meeting material, page 71 of the report. And were there any questions about that? Okay. Issue number 4, which is on page 106 and starts on page 72 on the meeting, on the Sunset Report. Issue number 4 shows the lack of statutory authority to charge a fee for continuing education course review and approval. This was added. It is one of the reasons why we don't do CE reviews right now. It's very labor intensive, a big resource hog, and we don't have the ability and the authority through statute to charge like other boards do. So we just opted not to take on that extra workload. We are putting it in here because it is still an issue. If we had the the authority to charge these fees, then we could adequately provide the resources to, of course, cover this service. I did add on page 107 of your meeting material, page 73 of the report, the comparison with other California regulatory boards, and these are all boards under the Department of Consumer Affairs, the Board of Registered Nursing, Dental Board of California, and California Board of Chiropractic Examiners as just examples of other boards that do have the authority in statute and regulations to charge a fee for this CE review and approval. And that's for both the course and vendors.
Rebecca,
yes.
Where in the Sunset Review is the section where we talk about our inability to update our actual
CE
requirements? I think that we talked about that last time, so it's probably in one of the green sections, but I just want to make sure I'm aware of where it is.
We will actually be putting it in this section. So if I did put it in another part of this report, it'll be put to this section here, which are the new sections that we're bringing up to the legislature this time. Yeah, it'll be.
So that's going to be like number 5 or
yep.
6, or one of those.
Yeah. So are there any other issues that we're also going to put in the inability to, you know, do the DMV paperwork, do the disability paperwork? We have licensees who are allowed to be naturopathic childbirth attendants, specialties, and they can't even put their patients on a maternity leave because the labor codes were never updated when the board was put into creation. So it was, I think, an oversight issue, and it needs to be fixed. So we will be bringing this up as well. Of course, this isn't a business and professions code change, but it is you know, something that we need to bring to the attention, and hopefully we can get that changed and updated as well. I have talked to DMV in the past. DMV has no issues updating their DMV paperwork and the forms to include a naturopathic doctor if they need to. However, if depending on how they worded on the form, it wouldn't fall under physician. So if it says practitioner, authorized practitioner, however they word it on there, it should cover it. But that'll be a discussion once that section of code is changed. And again, just for a reminder that naturopathic doctors are able to be a federal Department of Transportation medical examiners, can fill out all the federal paperwork for that, but can't fill out the California DOT paperwork. So it's just a kind of a weird thing. Again, I think it was just a lack of oversight and just got missed when the act was first put into place.
Rebecca, is this inclusive of FMLA?
So I can't remember how FMLA paperwork states. It just depends on how that form is written. Sometimes if it says, if it actually speaks to the labor code and the authorized practitioners in that code, then no, they can't. If it's very broad and says, you know, your practitioner, your healthcare provider, if it's very vague in that sense, then yes, you guys can. You know, again, naturopathic doctors are primary care practitioners here in California. In the majority of the other states where they're regulated, they have all the rights to do this. So again, I think, again, it was just a lack of oversight, and we just need to get it fixed. And I believe, Dr. Singleton, that's the same. It goes with like work notes and school notes and that type of thing too, where, somebody just had the day off. They had to go and, see a doctor because they have a cold or something, and the doctor gives them a work note. Those can definitely be signed by a doctor, ND. School notes the same, just depends. If it says physician, then you guys would not be able to sign it here in California. Did that answer your question, Dr. Singleton?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. All right. Any other questions or any other issues that you would like me to make sure that I incorporate here? And again, if we miss anything, please don't hesitate to send me an email after we're offline as well, and just let me know that you would like something added, and I can definitely add it. Okay, seeing none, guess I'll just go to the very last section, section 11, which is the attachments. So I'll be working with staff, and we'll be gathering all of the important attachments and getting them ready. So these are all of the things that they're asking for in here: the board's administrative manual, current organizational chart showing the relationship of the committees and the board and the membership of each committee. Any major studies. So this is where we'll have our survey information, year-end organizational charts for the last 4 fiscal years. So all of these items will be included in here, just like we did during our last sunset report. You guys have had the opportunity to take a look at that report. I've sent it out to you. You can also go onto our website and take a look there. I believe that the 2015 report, not the prior one, but the one before that, the attachments are on there as well, but you have to click on those attachments each independently of the report. So we weren't very technically savvy back then, so our apologies for that, but they're there for you to take a look at and review. Of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to bring those up.
Rebecca, just so I understand the timeline on this fully, you're going to work on all of these sections that are not filled in, and then do we have one more meeting to review those changes?
Yep.
So that timeline, just so I'm really clear on it.
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and bring that forth. So I will have this pretty much completed at the end of next week.
Okay.
The end of next week, I will be sending over what I have to the data governance and sunset review advisory committee. So both Satara and Bruce will be going over these, just making sure that the narrative matches the data and that they're telling the story correctly. And then, of course, Dr. Tice graciously had stated that she would join this advisory committee as well, which is great because now we have a ND who can do any technical things on there as well, so she can look in there for technical issues. Once they've reviewed it, gave me any suggestions that they have, I'll incorporate those suggested changes. We'll bring that back to the full board on November 19th, I believe, or was it the 17th? I'll have to look. They're coming up next in our next agenda item, but basically during our next meeting, those will be brought to you guys. At that time, I'm hoping to also have some of the drafts of like the partitions and the table of contents and stuff like that for the from our publications office, but we might not. So I'm not going to promise that, but they might be ready as well. But basically at the next meeting, all of the board members will go over it, we'll review it, make any changes that you guys want in real time at that one, because that is it. That's where we have to approve the text at that point. The following day after that meeting, I will be submitting any changes, the report with any changes that you guys have made to our publications unit. They're going to design the report. Once they have that draft, it will be brought back to the board on the December 3rd meeting. At that point, you guys can approve the whole report in its entirety. And at that point, we send it over to be printed, and hopefully we will have it all ready by January 5th when we need to turn it over to the legislature.
Thank you for all of those reminders. That's super helpful.
Of course.
Okay, great. All right, do we have anything else to go over on this agenda item?
No, I'm done. So unless
this
you guys...
was our big agenda item, which is agenda item 8, update and discussion of possible action on the 2026 Sunset Review Report. I just want to take a moment to thank Rebecca and also our subcommittee that is helping Dr. Tyson, Dr. Davidson on this. This is so much work, and it really is so important, but also somewhat tedious. And we just really appreciate everything you're doing on this.
Of course, my pleasure.
All right. So I think at this point, we should check for any public comment on this. Moderator, can you just go through and see if we have any public members present at our different locations?
Absolutely. We're going to start with WebEx and ask for people to raise their hands by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users, dial *3 to raise your hand. And while we're waiting for WebEx, let's ask about those physical locations, starting with Dr. Thompson in San Rafael.
There are no public members present.
Dr. Tice in Fresno.
There are no members of the public here.
Member Yam in Rosemead and Member Davidson.
There are 2 public members here because Mr. Yam and I are public members. However,
Right.
There are no members of the public.
Thank you for that clarification. Dr. Mukherjee in Vallejo.
There are no members of the public present.
And then Dr. Singleton in Lafayette.
No members of the public here. Thank you.
And let's ask about the El Dorado room in Sacramento.
We do have a comment here. Thank you.
Hi, Afana Lamar from Senate Business Professions and Economic Development. I just wanted to follow up on Dr. Thompson's question. I got my laptop plugged in, so I was able to compare this year's Sunset template to the template you guys used last time you went through Sunset Review. And the online practice was there, online practice question was there. However, there was one, and it was a series of 3 questions. One of the bullets is new, however, it's how does the board regulate online/internet business practices outside of California? That element is new, but the rest of it was present during the last Sunset Review. That was all. You're welcome.
All right. And there were no requests online. Do you wish to continue with the agenda?
Yes, thank you. All right, so the last agenda item is agenda item number 9, which is future agenda items and next meeting dates. I think Rebecca actually talked about our next meeting dates, which I believe are the 19th of November and 3rd of December. Is that correct, Rebecca?
One second, I'm just bringing it up right now. So yes, November 19th meeting has been scheduled to make last amendments and approve final draft of the written report and attachments. December 3rd would be the approved draft of publications, design and editing. And other than that, I will be sending out doodles at the end of this meeting today to do Q1 through Q4 for 2026. And we will also be sending out doodles for all of the advisory committees.
Wonderful. And how is that going to work with the future meetings, given that we do have a significant turnover happening in our board?
Well, that makes it a little tricky. We're just going to go ahead and put them on there. The members that are terming out at the end of this year, December 31st, 2025, still have a grace period that they can sit in next year. We are hoping that the legislature or the governor's appointment office will be kind enough to allow at least the president, board president, and maybe the vice president to sit during their grace periods, at least through the conclusion of sunset. You know, it would be very mean to put somebody in that chair right now at the very end of a sunset report when they haven't been here at all. So I'm going to make that request, definitely.
All right.
And then just the new people that come, they're just going to have to try to work in their meetings, or we'll have to change the meetings later on.
Okay, sounds good. Any future agenda items that people want to make sure is on the list for future meetings?
This is Dr. Singleton. Whether this could be done now or later, can we be provided with some kind of status on new board members?
I haven't heard anything yet. We're still working on it with the Department of Consumer Affairs, Board and Bureau Relations. They've, of course, had a couple of vacancies in their office, so they've had people covering for them as well. So now that they've got the new staffing, I think the communication between the DCA and the Governor's Appointments Office will, resume more frequently. Like it did in the past, and I'm hopeful that we will start getting some folks interested. I know CNDA has put out some information that we are looking for board members, and we've put it up on our board's social media. I think that we're going to also place something on our board's website, just showing that we're needing some new board members and see if there's any interest. And we also need to reach out to the CMA and OPSC, which is the association for both the allopathic and osteopathic physicians, to see if there's any interest of somebody that's wanting to come and sit in that physician spot that's still open.
I don't mean to be dramatic, but I am concerned, and I'm not planning on vacating unless I feel like there's a nice pipeline, or at least we have some new members, and it makes me feel uncomfortable that there's just nothing.
Yeah, I am going to be reaching out as well. So we'll get there. They're not going to leave us. They will not leave us with no quorum. I shouldn't say that because there has been times in the past where that has happened, but usually they try not to let that happen. So I'm going to work with them. Of course, the thing that concerns me the most is we have everybody that turns out at the exact same time. And so the continuity, it's not there. This is one of the issues that is going into the sunset report, that we don't have staggered appointments, and it's an issue. Other people have staggered appointments, but we don't, except for our public members, and that's only because they were added after the fact by the two other non-government or non-governor appointees. So
I don't want to be dramatic, but I think in the communication we need to point out that there could be a disruption in the activities of the board if we don't have board members.
Gotcha.
Yes, I agree. And, part of the thing that we do to address that is that we have this grace period. But to speak for myself, as Bruce pointed out last meeting, I have been on the board for a really long time. And I'm happy to stay through sunset because we do need that continuity, but I am not planning to stay for the entire grace year. I have personal commitments which will prevent me from being on the board past May of 2026. So if the governor sees fit to allow me a grace period to finish out sunset, I think that would be a great idea. But it won't be a full year for me.
Gotcha. I appreciate that feedback. I definitely will be providing this information to the governor's appointments office and to the board and bureau relations at the Department of Consumer Affairs and let them know.
And if people know other people they think would be great board members, feel free to reach out to them. Thank you. Okay, so are there any other items, future agenda items that people would like to make sure that they see on the next meetings? I know that there are a couple items that we tabled this time, just really trying to get the sunset report done. So we'll push those out to the next meeting. Anything else that people want to make sure gets addressed?
This is Dr. Singleton again. Are there, I understand we have start dates that are now 9 o'clock. Do we have an end point or end time, like an estimated end time of these meetings?
Normally it's until the conclusion of business. I don't think we've went over 3 p.m. in a very, very, very long time. I think there's only been one instance where we've been here until 5. I would say generally though to when we have board meeting days, you know, block your calendar until 5 because there could be an instance where we go to 5. I think that the next meeting, I mean, unless you guys just love everything that, you know, Bruce and Satara and I put in the sunset, I think there's going to be some amendments or some additions that you guys may want to have in the next board meeting. So it's hard to say. That's probably going to be one of the only things in our next board meeting is just the sunset stuff, and maybe the meeting minutes from today. We're trying to get some information on that one because I'm not sure that we had enough votes for that. We have a legal checking on that right now, but I would say just to be safe, block it off until 5. We normally don't go past 3.
Mm-hmm. I'm only asking because the meeting dates changed from when I'm able to attend versus like full work days. And this is my issue, but scheduling becomes an issue when I have to block off an entire day. So.
Understood. And I think it just happened because of this sunset and we needed to do these back-to-back meetings that we were just looking for things that everybody could join. So I totally understand. I know that there are certain days that are better for everybody than others, and this just unfortunately happened to be on a Wednesday this time.
Sure.
Well, also, I think that the main reason we switched to an earlier start time was in the hopes that, like today, we would be ending early and have the afternoon. It's just challenging because I have the same issue as Dr. Singleton. I wasn't able to schedule any appointments this afternoon because I didn't know if I would be available, even though now we're ending at noon and I could have, you know? So it is unfortunate that with the earlier start time, we can't say, okay, you're going to be done by 2, because that would allow people who need to schedule exact meetings to do so.
Sure. I totally understand, and I have to give it to you guys. Any doctors, I know that you guys have very busy practices, so I commend you for being here and giving up some of your time with your patients. So I appreciate that, but it's very hard to determine how long these meetings are going to go. So I just usually book it until at least 3, but you know, there's always that you know, case that it may go until 5. So, but the request to make the start times at 9 was actually from you guys, and so that's why we put it to 9, just because we needed to have the rooms. But we could definitely go and do a 10 o'clock meeting during our next.
Sure, I don't mind the 9 a.m. start. I think just having a hard stop might be helpful for scheduling for all of us.
Gotcha. Understood.
And I think what Dr. Singleton's saying is like that might actually improve our attendance.
Gotcha.
Anyway,
thank you.
Any other comments or questions? All right. We should ask for public comments for future items for our meetings. So moderator, can you do that?
We are open for public comment, and we're going to ask people on WebEx to raise their hands by tapping that hand button at the bottom of the screen. Dial-in users dial *3 to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order we have requests. And while we're waiting to see if we have a request, let's check our physical locations, starting with Dr. Thompson in San Rafael.
There are still no members of the public in San Rafael.
Dr. Tice in Fresno.
There are no members of the public here.
Member Yam in Rosemead, and Member Davidson.
There are no members of the public here.
All right, Dr. Mukherjee in Vallejo.
There are no members of the public present.
Dr. Singleton in Lafayette.
No members of the public here. Thank you.
And let's check on the El Dorado room in Sacramento.
No members of the public here.
All right.
I mean, no members of the public have a comment. Sorry. There is somebody here.
There are no requests online either. I think we're ready to proceed.
Wonderful. Well, in that case, I'm going to adjourn the October 8th, 2025 meeting of the California Board of Naturopathic Medicine. It is 11:32 a.m. I look forward to seeing everyone in November.
Thank you. See you guys later.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Take care.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.